Welcome to Virtual Mimics and Gimmicks, where a bunch of idiots pretend to know what they're doing and in the process torment me with their vicious mockery. I'm your friendly neighborhood dungeon master and player punching bag, Anastasia. Playing Troy, our half-wood elf ranger with a taste for bear blood, is Sean. As Magnus, our dark and brooding tiefling rogue, is Clint. We've got Ryan playing Biren, our firbolg cleric who prefers liquid courage, and Tatiana playing as Poopers, our wily tabaxi barbarian. Finally, we have Amanda playing Eravir, our sexy high elf sorcerer with hair and heart of gold. We're going to jump straight into the recap today, so let's get going. Last time on Dungeons & Dragons Ball Z, our heroes continued trying to trudge through an ever-growing mound of disaster, the latest addition to which was the distress call from their friend Callie, who had traveled to the magic-hating Eos Imperium for unknown reasons. The party set out to save her right away, without hesitating even to do the most basic levels of research or preparation. As if favored by some all-powerful god, they were still able to make progress on their task and earn entrance into the Imperium through the channels of their smuggling friend, the Eel. While aboard the boat toward the Imperium, our heroes took some time to reminisce about an earlier conversation. We took a look back into Troy's past, and used that to form an image of his future. Turns out that Troy's father was a warden researcher who abandoned his duty of keeping guard over Aklis, a demon of sleep who is bound to an artifact that takes the form of a silver circlet. After seeking revenge on Troy's father, that demon is now out and about, causing all sorts of fun problems for civilians all over the world. Now, we're going to return to the present to see out the party's pursuit of their dear friend, and whether or not they can truly survive in this totalitarian regime that hates magic. What lay ahead of them in this treacherous land? What happened to Callie? How will their lack of preparation come to bite them? Let's find out. Okay.
I'll have you know we spent a lot of time talking about this.
Spent no time talking about this.
We spent so much time not preparing for this, it's not even funny.
So much.
Yeah. It's great.
Which is completely in character for us.
I cherish the constant petrification of death, and yet we charge in guns blazing, but we forgot all of our ammo. So let's do it.
Well, it's actually all locked up in a safe.
Yes, that too.
Always just hit them with the gun.
To clarify, you guys did take a couple forced precautions, namely storing your magic items, because those can be easily detected, and you also have received a special pill called Soul Protect, which the eel supplied you with, and that is what breaks your soul away from the magical weave and makes you completely unmagical, hidden from all the gods, alone.
Like
so yeah.
Troy.
Yeah.
The one who doesn't need the pill.
Yeah.
All
Alright,
I hate you guys.
anyways, you guys are currently on this boat. It is not like ship, but it is not like rowboat. It is somewhere in between. Basically, traveling up this channel of the waking sea that reaches all the way up to the Eos Imperium. You launched off from Exeter, so it is a journey, a few days journey up the coast there. You're not the only people aboard the ship. Of course, the eel is with you, kind of spearheading the whole operation. I wouldn't quite call him the captain because there is a crew kind of manning the boat as needed. But he is sort of the organizer of everything. In addition to, there are a number of other passengers. They very much keep to themselves and don't like to be looked at or talked to or anything like that. So you guys, I would hope, kind of are chill and keep to yourselves for the couple of days journey. And around dawn on the fourth day of your journey up the waking sea, the boat comes to a halt, and the eel steps out onto the deck and puts his hands on his hips and looks proudly over the ocean. The sky is overcast. Salt is spraying in the air. It is a very dismal day, actually. It's kind of just like, wow, we just got the recap playing again, inexplicably. That's okay. Anyways, it's a very dismal day. He's in a great mood. He's just
Eel territory.
Yeah, essentially. So he kind of claps his hands and brings you all towards where he is standing, which is next to a rowboat that needs to be lowered into the water. And he says, Alright. We're here. This is so exciting, I know. Let's have everyone go ahead and climb aboard. We're gonna make our way towards shore, and then I'll kind of give you the rundown on the way there. So make sure you grab whatever you need because there's no coming back. We're not turning around.
Not until 3 days.
Right. Yeah, 3 days.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
You see, most of the people aren't actually coming back. It's just you guys. So, yeah, 3 days.
Biren timidly looks in between the rowboat and the water and
It is
hops
not
over.
a significant way down, but the waters are rough today, so that rowboat is not going to be very secure.
Biren doesn't like that, but
I walk past and tap him on the shoulder. So it's okay, buddy. We'll be with your Stein again soon.
okay. All right. The sooner we do this, the sooner the Stein.
You have your Stein, it's just
I don't have infinite
it's
beer.
inert.
Yeah.
It's not a real Stein if it doesn't have infinite beer.
Yeah. Is it really a Stein then? I mean,
Right.
It's
So I
just
assume the rest of
ceramic.
you board as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hop on in.
So as everyone, including the other passengers, climb aboard, and the boat starts to be lowered into the sea by the crew on the ship. The eel is kind of like doing that thing where he's like at the is it the helm or the head of the boat and puts his like foot on the railing.
Captain Morgan.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
captaining.
He's thrown
Okay.
off balance as the boat comes into contact with the water, but he is still on board, so that's good. And then he turns and looks at all of you and says, "All right, let's get going." And you look, and there are oars next to you.
Oh.
I hop on the oar.
Yeah, I grab one and just kind of look around in preparation. And
Yeah.
How
I'll
many
grab
of
one.
you know how
I'll grab-
to
I'll grab
row a
two.
boat, though?
Oh no, Poofers just starts, rowing.
Yeah, I don't know how to row.
she's not in sync
I don't
with
like water.
anybody. She's
She rages and starts
we
rowing
go in circles.
furiously, and the boat starts
Splashes over.
spinning. And he's like, "Stop! It's coordination. It has to be teamwork."
Okay.
After a while, you guys are able to kind of get it together, and I'm assuming Poofers or someone is going like row, 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 to kind of keep sync.
You would hope.
One would hope.
But her tempo's a little off, so we're making it. But
We'll get there
Row.
eventually. Okay.
row.
I didn't claim to be a musical cat. Okay.
By the time you make it towards shore, you kind of like 3/4 back in instead of nice full straight on pull onto the shore. And the eel has directed you towards an embankment that is sheltered pretty effectively by a concave cliffside. So it's not like a deep cave or anything, but it does kind of go into the cliff. He jumps out onto the gray sand and turns to you as he's stretching and waits for everyone to kind of clamber out. The boat was very creaky, and Viren swears he saw a couple of leaks, but you did make it to shore all right. So, he claps his hands and gathers everyone's attention. Alright, I'm only going to say this once, so if you miss it, that's too bad. Right, okay. So, some of you who want to go back, you have 3 days to return. I'm leaving at dusk the 3rd day, regardless of who shows up. I'm leaving. Okay? Cool. Not here, get left behind, have fun. Right. Now let's say you're wandering through the Imperium and you get picked up by a couple of magistrates and they're like, "Who brought you here?" Now you do have the option to avoid all of that torture and say, "Oh, it was our good friend the eel," but I'm gonna tell you right now that won't work out well for you. You see, the eel is a title shared by a lot of us smugglers, so it's really, they're just gonna kind of you're gonna make them angry. So try and come up with a better explanation. If you sell me out in any way, give my appearance or anything, and you make it out alive, let's just say that's not gonna work out well for you either. We all know what happened to the Moray. And he kind of like chuckles, and a few people chuckle also. Now, anyways, what else? The Imperium is terrible. Everyone hates it here. Well, all outsiders hate it here. But everyone else is really happy. scene, right? Everyone likes living here. So try to fit in. Don't tell anyone that you're not from here or they're gonna report you. Don't say you like magic, and if anyone asks you, the author is the greatest thing ever in the whole world. Right. And with all of that explained, spiel over, most importantly, of course, have fun. You don't get to come to the Imperium every day. Let's enjoy the experience. All right. Yeah. Woo! And he kind of like starts to try and get people clapping, and kind of no one does.
Are any of the other people in like high socks with sandals? That little contraptions to take pictures.
No, they are all like dark and brooding and covered in cloaks and scarves and everything.
Well, that's not very fun.
Yeah, no, it's not. Alright, now, right up the hill is a village named Tarnstead. You can stop by there. The magistrate presence is moderate. We're about 3 hours up the road from Adamantinarx, which is the capital, so presence is, it's like the road's going to be busy and it's going to be monitored. If you don't want to head to the capital, it's not a problem. If you are heading to the capital, I can't recommend staying on the path. You might get questioned, especially some of our more primary colored friends.
Blue.
Ian, real quick, what time are we thinking it is right now?
It's dawn.
Dawn. Okay.
Right. Okay. Anyways, if you need to, please take your soul protect. Now is a good time to do that. If you get any closer to any villages or anything, you're gonna be in for a real bad time.
Down it. Chew it. Whatever.
Pop it.
I like take the reversal and keep it in my cheek.
Okay.
I recommend this to all of my magic friends in case your arms and hands are bound and or they search you and try and take it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, guys, I'll pop your soul protects. Feel protected. For Erebir and Viren especially, it is draining to take. This is much more potent than that which you had experimented with when you were in the Waterdeep base. This one fully just like you feel incomplete at this point. You feel like a part of you is missing, like something that you didn't even know was there is gone, and it just kind of like feels like a void. It's really uncomfortable, and it kind of is one of those things that will be nagging at the back of your head the whole time. It's not intolerable or anything like that, but it is something that just makes you it's like an itch that you want to scratch, but you can't. That said, you guys heading to Tarnstead? Are you going to the path to the capital, or are you gonna stay off the beaten path and make your way towards the capital?
I vote for staying off the beaten path because we have an 8-foot blue guy and a not quite 8 feet, but still very menacing red guy with horns.
It's true.
What is the real question is purple menacing?
Yeah, I think
Because
so.
red and blue,
Right?
no. Bad joke.
Right?
Bad joke.
Big cloaks on right now.
Yeah. All right.
Big cloaks off the path.
Big
Okay.
cloaks off path.
To note, you guys had, we'll say like right when you left Exeter, sent word back to Tempest, who sent a animal messenger essentially towards where you think Callie would be. And I don't have the text of that message handy, but the TLDR of it was you warned her that the Sultry 6 + 1 were coming, and to basically have her make a story that she needed extra research in like creatures, because exotic creatures like furbolgs, tieflings, tabaxi would be valuable. So that was the story you told her to make. You don't know if she received it. You don't know what the situation is there, but that was sent ahead of time. Okay. So you guys meander up the hill and see this village of Tarnstead. Don't go into it, but it looks very kind of like plain. A lot of the villages that you see are kind of quirky, or they have a sort of rustic charm to them, This looks strictly utilitarian. It looks very regular and well managed. Not quite a city, a little bit bigger than a village probably, but it is too organized. So a lot of villages are like thrown together, and that's what makes them charming, right? You know, like you build a house as you need it. These look very regular, very planned, and that is far from the norm. At least with what you are kind of aware of. So,
Are there people in there?
There are. It is a very busy town, actually. Even from this distance, you can see over the wooden wall that there are sort of individuals wearing shinier armor walking around. They appear in very regular patrols, always in pairs. And the townsfolk don't seem to pay much mind to them. They just kind of are comfortable with their presence.
Do the townsfolk seem like are they walking with like their heads down, like downtrodden kind of thing, or are they just walking around normally? Like, do you see anything out of ordinary like that?
No, they look completely comfortable. They look like they're just going about their daily business. Which does strike you as very odd, you know. You've been kind of told that this place is very oppressive, but the people, at least in the town, seem to be totally normal. They don't seem to be aware of whatever oppression they might be under.
I'd like to ask Cleo a question. I noticed that, you know, the guards seem kind of normal. If there's no magic here in general, why do they have guard patrols constantly? Why don't they just guard the borders?
Well, we kind of are on a border. We're on the marine border, right? So they tend to stick around towns that might be a sort of attractive point like this one. They would stick in Tarnstead because it's very close to the water. That said, the closer you get to the capital, the more dense the magistrate population is going to be. They have a very strong hold on the capital, and the farther you go, it's going to be more lax, but because this village is sort of on the road to the capital, it's going to be well monitored.
I know that you were, you know, part of the magistrate. Was there any kind of a resistance or anything like that, or were the people just kind of, you know, complacent?
I mean, we had our usual riffraff, you know, street thieves. You would run into magic users once in a while. But overall, people just kind of aren't aware that they're living any differently from the rest of the world. In fact, they think the rest of the world is sort of incorrect in how they're living. When you're taught from a young age that magic is evil and corruptive and basically sinful, you're going to be thankful you live in a place without it.
Very sad way to view the world.
They've never had infinite beer before, clearly.
Well, I asked Cleo, what's going on with the regimented structure of this place? It seems a little off-putting. Is this how the rest of what we should expect on our way to the capital?
Yes, the government and the Chandrian are all about doing the name of the author proud. Someone like who they worship, and honestly who I worship as well, admires being practical. That is one of the reasons they hate magic. It is wild, it is chaotic, it is nonsensical when they desire structure and order. Not every village in the country is as well structured and well planned as this one, but again, the closer you get to the capital, the more you'll start to see the Imperium's preferences appear and become more profound.
I think the positive side of this is if everything's very structured like this, they are definitely going to have a lot of holes that we can slip through to get up there. I mean, I'm sure you probably have a smart way of getting us up there more undetected, especially if it's all very regimented.
Toward the capital, you mean?
Yeah.
Stay off the path. It's going to be patrolled at least every hour.
Okay. And what do the patrols look like?
No one in this country is going to have weapons, armor, or anything like that except for the magistrates and typical towns guards. So if they're wearing armor, avoid them. If they've got a weapon, avoid them.
Okay. And just to confirm, do they have a ability to communicate like long distances or sound alarms?
Like
If-
a warden comm.
Yeah.
Since I was a magistrate, no. All of the communication will be done in a fairly visible way. That said, there are alarm systems in place. For instance, if, let's say, there were some event in this village, I have no doubt that there are alarm bells that will quickly communicate that message.
Huh.
So don't take a lack of magic as equivalent to slow communication, per se.
But if we were to run into somebody in the middle of nowhere, there's a better chance that they wouldn't be able to alert anybody.
Correct. However, if they
Gotcha.
didn't show up for their patrol or something, or their check-in, that would be made known.
Right. Okay. And
Everything here is on a schedule. Just think about it that way.
how large are the patrols usually?
It is policy to always have at least one other person with you, but I have seen patrols of up to 5 individuals at once.
Okay.
And that's for standard around town patrols. You'll never see one on their own.
But on the main roads, it could be like 2 to 5 guys,
hmm
give or take. Okay.
In the city, it'll probably be more.
Is it weird coming back here for you?
Yes, I hate it. I would like to leave immediately, actually.
I would also like to leave immediately with our friend.
Would agree with this sentiment.
It's,
Well, let's get her and get the hell out of here.
not easy to return to a place which has raised you and taught you everything you know and then scorned you and exiled you for not wanting to kill innocent people. So,
What happened exactly? Or do you not want to talk about it?
why don't we get walking instead? We have about 6 hours to go if we're not.
That's cool. I'm great at walking and talking.
Right. Okay, so you guys set off west. You do see the road. It is well paved, actually lined with stone. Again, very abnormal. You know, usually roads through the countryside are like dirt roads, if anything. Or they're just like kind of well-known routes. Here it is paved. It is, even now you can see patrols walking up and down it. The traders and villagers and whatnot who make their way along the road seem very comfortable, seem very happy. But you stay off of that and are probably about half a mile off of the road, so you can still see it and follow it, but are, you know, not next to it, invisible. So, as you're making your way through the forests that line the roads, again, it is just surprisingly well managed and well patrolled. It is unlike anything that you've seen, even in the cities that you've been in, like Exeter or Dahlia, are not this well maintained. It is strictly regimented, and it kind of looks like everyone knows their place and does their part. That said, I don't think you guys will be doing anything that particularly necessitates a stealth roll. You'll just be kind of walking, talking quietly, and keeping an eye out for things. So I won't make you roll stealth. Are there any conversations you want to have along the way, or are we ready to fast forward all the way to the capital?
Well, I think I know we already have very strong plans, but just hypothetically, in case it doesn't go correctly, and we get like maybe caught by a patrol or two, if we get 2 people and we're able to subdue them, I think maybe we should have Troy and somebody else throw on their armor and we can kind of use them as, you know, a stand-in as some help. I'm just thinking outside the box here, just so we're kind of ready in case that does happen. And then, you know, if we have to weaken and Bernie's one of them, then we got to do that as well. But we'll have to see.
I have a question about that.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Bernie.
Who is Bernie?
Bernie's
Well-
it's an old wise tale that I was told as a kid one time.
Do you have any way of can you feel the other guards? Are you aware of their presence? Can you feel their magical connection to the author?
If I cast a spell, I can within a certain radius, but not sort of passive.
But you wouldn't do that unless you were suspicious, right?
Correct. It is an active concentration thing. So
Do we have some kind of documentation? I forget if we had some kind of documentation. Because obviously, the first thing we shouldn't do is crack the guards over the head. We should just be like, oh yeah, we got papers here. All right, cool, on your way.
you don't have any sort of certificate or form or anything like that. You kind of have your word right now and are hoping that that's strong enough to make them not arrest you on the spot.
Super.
Wow. I mean, I
So
suppose
I feel like now's a good
what
time.
idiot Furbolg would be, willing to walk in here? So I guess, all right, I get you. We're gonna have to do Christmas shenanigans if.
Kind of. It's so weird. I feel like if someone had prepared something, it would have just worked better.
And
That feels like that could have happened, but it didn't.
I know. It's
So-
so odd.
it's getting into the capital as we're making our way. Other than obviously the main gate that I'm guessing we're not going to go through, is there a better way in that you're aware of?
I would prefer to wait to answer that question until you see the city.
Oh man. Okay. Cool. The other thought too is if we just getting plans here, if we don their armor, we could have captives. I do have a pair of handcuffs that we can weaken some of the links on.
Why do you have a pair of handcuffs with you, Magnus?
Why are they fuzzy?
First of all, they're not. They're regular handcuffs. All right. Second of all, I got them when I think Barry was a prisoner at one time.
Yeah, this sounds vaguely
I
familiar.
forget. I don't know. Some from our past events. And I kept them because in fact, I have two. No, one. Never mind. I have one pair of handcuffs, so we can have the again stories from my youth of a person named Han Solo and Chewbacca. So we can use them and use that as an idea of a pretend captive. Just trying to get some game plans here in case,
Yeah.
I know our plans, not that we need them because they always go perfectly, but
Shout out Lizard
just a
Town.
thought.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. Yeah, let's get to
I
the
think
capital.
we should definitely default to our plan, though, that Callie got the communication and is expecting us.
Yeah.
I agree. Just
Yeah,
thinking outside.
I don't think it's a bad plan.
Also, Cleo, we probably shouldn't call you by your real, name while you're here.
If you say what I think you're gonna say, I'm leaving.
Well,
No. So we were thinking that you could be Claire Harriet Lynn Ossel Esquire.
I think you're really funny.
and I think do you think you could be a noble? Act noble-ish.
Just
Nailed it.
glares at you. She's she's the really grungy kind of
I picture Brianna Tarth.
yeah.
Did you get that one, DM?
What?
Dude,
Yeah, I did get
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I did get
Cool.
it.
Nice.
Do you
That's
get
why-
it?
That's why she
You
said
get it?
you're real funny.
Huh?
You get it?
Even Troy got that one.
She rolls her eyes and sighs and says, "Whatever."
All right, Claire.
It's fine, Claire.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's fine,
so
Claire.
I have to state the obvious here. If we are going with the main plan of we're coming at the request of one of their head researchers, Callie, why are we so far off the beaten path in the main road? That just seems a little like if we are discovered this far off and they're like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're supposed to be here 3/4 of a mile away from the road under the guise of heavily forested.
We could just say we were
Wildlands.
instructed to, go straight to the capital to avoid any confusion because it's so short notice. They wouldn't be able to get the word out to all these small towns.
Also, to not draw the attention of
Not make anybody panic.
villagers, not make any, make ourselves really.
Which
Or cause,
works
or cause any type of scene.
as
And-
long as we aren't spotted.
Right. I think especially getting to the capital sneakily like we're doing is avoiding a lot of questions and problems that may arise. And then once we get close to it, then we can get on the path and, saunter up, as it were. And
Risk aversion.
Act like we've been here. I mean,
Cool. There's also,
that's-
we could just go to the capital.
well, that's what we're
Yeah, and I think that if we are questioned, oh, you want to?
No, the conversation's good. Let them talk.
Oh, okay.
If we are questioned, I think more or less instead of acting like surprised or guilty or anything like that, we just are more inquisitive. Like, yes, you can help us. We are looking for Callie. She needs us, expeditiously for her research of whatever it is she's doing. She's requested specifically our group, and we're trying our best to get there. So, just kind of like help me, help you, help me type thing. if
or
that
the
makes sense.
thank you, we are lost. Help me where
Right.
we're going.
Right.
Also, they
Thank
could
God
take us
you
right
showed up.
to her, and then we would know where the hell she
Yes.
is.
Yes. Thank God
And
you
we
showed
have
up.
No idea for sure where she is in this giant city.
You are going to be well rewarded.
You look at their name tag. Fred. Fred. Thank you, Fred. Can you lead us there, please?
Like he's a Walmart greeter.
That's how it's going to go, right, Claire?
There will be a big trophy for you at the end of this.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Fred is a pretty common name here.
Yes.
Would be. Do you think that plan holds any merit?
I'm just going to refrain from answering any of these questions until you see the city.
That was a fair question.
I think that
Okay.
most of them will be answered. If you have a question about like culture or something, then sure, I can answer. I can tell you all about why people are named Fred, as well as Martin is a common
Why are they named Fred?
Oh,
one
you
of-
knew that was good.
one of our saints actually in the Holy Scriptures.
Saint
Saint
Frederick.
Fred.
Ah, yes.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't
So
laugh.
saintly.
You think it's funny?
No, not at all.
Oh, oh.
We don't laugh at people's culture here, Troy.
No. I don't know why I'm laughing.
We
What
also
was,
got Saint
what was-
Manfred.
I'm curious. What was Fred and Saint Manfred's?
was a
what were they
female,
sainted
right?
for exactly?
What did you say, Clint?
I said she was a well-known female saint, right?
That's Manfredrika.
Yes.
Fred and Manfred, they were actually brothers, believe it or not, twins. And they are known for uncovering one of our most holy relics, which is a, this is so fun, going into the lore of my culture. I never get to do this because everyone just says, oh, it's someone from the Imperium, let's hate her. Anyways, they have discovered one of the holy quills, which you'll see referenced in our sort of symbology. Every magistrate has emblazoned on their chest piece a eagle, or a hawk probably is the better bird, formed of quills instead of feathers, which are kind of feathers, but they're also like distinctly a little bit
For the
different.
author,
Aren't quills
Yeah.
I am making connections.
Yeah. But yes, they found one of the most holy relics in all of the land. It was quite an arduous journey. They had to wrest it from some people. She looks over nervously at Magnus. Some people who tried to
What do
steal
you
it.
mean some people?
You people.
Just be thankful I didn't go into the
Cool.
details. How about that?
My question is, do you guys have a holy cup of sorts? And I am hidden very.
Yeah. Do you?
Want to steal the Holy Grail?
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't say.
I'll
I wanted
go
to-
for the
I'm just
holy
asking
chalice.
If you
I
had
mean-
a holy cup,
Yeah.
Yeah, who said anything about a grail? We're just looking for the holy cup.
right? And I start weighing a bag of sand.
There are many holy such household objects, but they are all stored within some of our more prominent cathedrals.
At the capital?
In the capital, if you wish to peruse the many streets of it.
Noted.
Okay. Now, you may to the capital.
To the capital.
To the capital.
All right. Welcome to Adamantinarchs. I was gonna make fun of you guys for not being able to pronounce it, but then I muffed it. Okay.
Wait, what is
Anyways,
it?
Adamantinarchs. It's on the map.
Oh, I would have read that as Adamant. Okay, that is confusing.
Yeah.
Adaman.
Adamantinarchs upon the Akron. It's from a book. Anyways. Okay.
Troy
So-
would have nailed it.
Yeah, you're kind of following near the road, and it's very obvious that you're nearing the city. You know, the road gets a lot busier. You actually start to hear noises and stuff like that, like bells ringing from a distance, just kind of general town noises, city noises. And as you kind of like reach a clearing in the trees where you can see out before you, there is a massive city, bigger than any of you have ever seen. It's well over double the size of Exeter, far larger than Dahlia and Amaranthine, which are both cities that Magnus and Erebir are aware of. It covers what can only be described as a vast amount of land and stretches as far as the eye can see. It's surrounded on all sides by a tall, intimidating wall that gives both a sense of stalwart security and overwhelming menace. It feels heavy, it feels fortified, and it feels like contained, is sort of the best word you can use. The structures within that you can see over the wall, because you're kind of up higher on a hill, are much like the village, plain and homely, constructed for practicality and endurance rather than grandeur or displays of extravagance. And to the far west, on the other side of the city, visible solely because of its fearsome height, an enormous complex reaches into the sky and casts a shadow over the city as the sun makes its slow way towards the horizon behind it. If you'll direct your attention to our context channel in our Discord, you will be able to see a couple of images that give a vibe of the city.
This is much more complicated than I had thought it would be.
Troy,
That is definitely going to have more than one holy
Oh,
cup in there.
I look over the
Blair.
horizon and just say, "Holy Fred!"
how would you propose we do this?
Yeah, see, I was hoping that when you saw the city, you would get an idea, since you seem to be the creative type.
Hmm.
I
Or
mean,
not?
I can draw some pictures. I'm creative in that way.
So, how many guards do they have on payroll to regularly patrol this?
Probably about 20% of the city are guards and magistrates.
So the city is
So
just a
1
living
out of 5.
army, basically.
Who are they patrolling for then, if most of them are guards?
The remaining 80%.
This is
That'll learn 'em.
The scale of the city is. I had no idea how many people lived here. Reports of this place from outside don't make this out to be like this.
Well, I'm not sure how good you are with your history, but the Eos Imperium is called an Imperium because it was once an empire that ruled over most of the continent.
Nope, real bad with history here.
You see, the Imperium stretched not just within its current bounds, but it occupied all of Myceris, a good part of the Nameless Shores, half of Vicentia, and half of Sethos, all the way towards Arsenfell. It was well over half of the continent. When the remainder of Sethos, Gilead, and Vicentia finally allied to destroy the threat, they were able to push the Imperium back to its borders and forced all of its people within these borders. It's a much smaller section of land. Back then it was known as the Dian Empire, and they've since defeat basically rebranded and are trying to make a I don't want to say comeback, because as far as I know there's no plans to invade the continent, but they are making a name for themselves again and following their own goals and culture. When you take that much land from an empire, it's going to be very densely packed.
Is there enough industry here to uphold a city of this size? Is there a lot of trade to this place, or where does it all come from?
Absolutely, the Imperium is a very fertile land full of lots of resources. No one here uses magic, and that forces everyone to a trade, which boosts the economy.
I'm curious, what is their primary export?
We don't.
Besides oppression.
Trade and oppression.
Our primary export is our missionaries. I have no doubt that you've come across some.
We did get chased through a town one time.
Yeah, that was the
They
thing.
aren't
Got chased
typically
through a town a
violent.
couple times.
Well, particularly by 3 from
Which-
the Imperium.
Which time do you refer?
Yeah.
So,
As the DM recalls, there were a group of missionaries in original Exeter that were murdered for no reason.
It was probably good we did. They were up to something, if I
They
recall
were
correctly.
totally up this.
Yeah, no one,
looked
They were
so
up to no good.
suspicious.
They were
No.
sketch.
they got,
We knew they
no
were
one had
sketch.
any evidence against them. You're just like, we need to kill them.
Yes.
But we knew
You
they
guys
were
are sketchy.
Right.
no,
Prove it.
but on
Prove
the,
it.
no, but I mean, on the same line of thought, if they're up to something, they are clearly up to something. I mean, why else did they show such interest in Callie? Why, like, I mean, there's more going on behind the scenes, obviously, than we're aware of, and hopefully
Even
we'll
if-
find out.
Even if there is something, is it really worth the time and energy right now when there's a tear in the sky?
Right?
So we just pointed that when they
I don't
want.
know if you know this
I mean-
about us, but we are multitaskers. We have
So-
many
so
problems
good at
going
it.
on that we are trying to solve at this moment.
So good at multitasking.
I mean, clearly they find something important enough to keep doing research with Callie while there's a giant tear in the sky.
Maybe they're
maybe the
researching the
two.
tear.
Maybe the two are the same.
I would venture to say we have about 5 other problems besides our main problem right now.
Spread out
We do.
across the entire continent.
We do kind of have a growing to-do list.
Your standard grocery list of
Claire,
problems.
Harriet, Lynn, Osel, Esquire. Just say it.
Yep.
Yep.
Anywho,
You have to like reach up.
Uh,
She's really tall.
okay.
Ah, there is a fury in her eyes that is
But it
it's
is
contained-
growing on her. It is.
it is
enduring.
contained only by the fact that the sounds of battle would definitely mean death.
You know, we may
You
not
gotta
need
lower
a
the
plan.
shoulders. You're a noble. Bring him
If
down.
if this continues, we may not need a plan. To be honest, they're just gonna take us in and throw
Did-
us in jail.
Did you patrol
Murder us.
this city?
I was assigned to some of the towns on the other side, basically north of here.
So you wouldn't know about any weak spots in getting into the city.
I've been within the city many times, and that's why I wanted you to see the city before you tried to find weak spots in it.
It looks like one big strong spot, but
A giant strong.
It is effectively a fortress. It's a stronghold. Sneaking through the streets won't be easy, and if you'd like to
Well,
try, you're more than welcome, but I don't
so-
think that's the best route.
maybe we should
Again,
just
we
own
don't
it.
Sneak.
What
Yes.
do you
Yeah.
think the best route is?
we just own it, and if we get caught, we just play the whole great, I'm glad you're here to help us. Please take us to Cali and the important research because we're here on request.
Yeah.
Who thinks these guards know exactly who Callie is?
Well,
Well, they know that there's going to
we
be
go to the-
research
yeah.
going on there.
I mean, they could just be low-level guards.
Yeah.
And then
have
we demand
no
to talk
idea.
to their superior.
Their supervisor.
Hey, Magnus.
Bring me to your
Their
leader.
assistant manager.
we're just gonna Karen
popping
our
holes
way.
in our plan.
Karen our way to the.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let me speak
Everybody
to your
knows
manager.
everything.
All of her hair turned short and blonde.
See,
Maybe
the important thing is to act like you're supposed to be there. All you have to do is say, look, we're part of top secret research at that place that the name I can't remember. Please escort us there without panicking your citizens.
We're all gonna die.
high probability to death.
I think it
chance
would
of-
look
Success. What
Hold
are we
on.
waiting for?
I think it would look really, really good if we actually
Remember the
When-
name of where we're
no
going.
here if we actually went to the guards instead of trying to sneak around. It's like, oh, if we get caught, maybe we should proactively approach them because then it makes it seem like we're supposed to be there.
I'm on board. I vote poofers.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't see how we're gonna get through this any
think-
other way. The
Yeah.
first sign of us being sneaky is probably the last opportunity that we have. You know
so
what I mean?
check it out. It's a win-win because they either take us there in a friendly manner or they take us there in a less than friendly manner, but we get there either way. So
Right, but just so we're clear, not that I am super nervous, but you know, for Aravir's sake, because I'm sure she's super nervous. Not me. Claire here is supposed to be pretty much taken on site, right? That's kind of what you told us.
I've been exiled. If anyone finds that out, it's not going to be good.
Do you
And-
have
what's the likelihood of
like
you
a fingerprint
recognized?
that they're like, hey, let's fingerprint everybody. Oh, this lady's exiled.
Yeah, what's the ID system?
They won't. They will not likely know me on sight. Some
Yeah.
of the officials within the seminary might, which will be fun.
Cool.
So maybe you just
So-
wait outside.
I almost feel like,
when we
yeah,
get
maybe
there.
you should wait out here, or you can act as like a messenger to introduce us to the city guard too. What did you call it? Seminary?
Listen, I did not come back to the Imperium to wait outside.
How common
Wait here.
are 6'5" very strong women here?
You need a
You'd
low-
be surprised, actually.
Bring the shoulders down. Graceful.
She looks at you,
You're an
I just-
esquire.
very obviously considering exposing your position to everyone by attacking you.
Shut up, Magnus.
This is why we don't need a plan. Okay.
Ay.
All right.
All right.
I think we go.
Checked off enough stuff on the list.
Yeah. We need to
Covered
just
a couple bases.
get there, and I think honestly I agree with Poopers in that we just need to pretend like we're going to.
So the plan is we go knock on the front door and tell them we're here.
Yep. And just really hope that our messenger animal spirit thing made it.
Real
to
quick,
Cali.
how big is this wall?
It's
This is a big-
large.
It's a big
Like-
wall.
Big enough that a grappling hook wouldn't fit over it?
I pulled the grappling hook off from one of them.
Listen, if you were able to pull off the impressive feat of launching a grappling hook over the wall, I'm pretty sure the people on the wall and at the foot of the wall would probably see what's going on.
I mean, you've never seen Troy do these things. And I throw a rock and it just lands on the ground and he doesn't shoot it.
Right.
Okay,
I was like,
let's go to the
I'm
front door.
Look at you. I'm like, what was
Nice.
that for?
That was the most accurate representation of our party I could possibly imagine. I don't think sneaking
And
through
then-
here
and
is.
then I get it like 30 seconds later, and and I discharge my crossbow at the rock that's now on the ground, and I nail it.
It like ricochets
Got
off
him.
the rock. It goes around.
Just crosses her arms in size. All
That was a
right.
good one.
Okay.
Before we make
Can
any
we take
further,
them anywhere?
I am every day further regretting my choice to join your group here.
Again, graceful, pretty calming.
Anyways, before we all head into the city, do you understand where you're going? Do you know what the seminary is?
Seminary, research facility, and or torture chamber
Salmonella.
for magic users.
Yes, it is essentially.
Can you spell that? Seminary.
That's with a C, right?
Seminary.
It is a high security prison for all magic users and those who harbor magic users. Anything considered treasonous is stored there.
Delightful.
We don't use magic.
And you might wonder where the highest density of magistrates in the city is.
The
I'm guessing
seminary.
where we're going.
The cemetery.
Right.
I mean,
Good. We're learning.
Cemetery.
We're going to one or the other, that's for sure.
All right. Well, try not to insult anyone. Be on your best behavior.
So you are waiting outside then, or
Wait.
you're coming with? I'm confused.
you're still noble, right? Elbow,
Yeah.
elbow, wrist, wrist.
I'm not waiting outside.
That was
Let's
a
go.
serious question. Okay. That was not meant to be. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
Ring the doorbell.
We're going streaking.
Ding dong.
All right.
Bring your hat.
Okay. All right. So you approach the city. The walls are ever more imposing as you continue to approach, and it's made clear by the alignment and direction of the path exactly where the gate is. At some point, you essentially like wait for a guard patrol to pass, and then make your way onto the road towards the gate. The gate itself is very heavily guarded. There are at least 20 within sight, and they are checking every basically arrival and departure, one by one. So there's a line to get in and out. Are you going in line or are you walking up?
How big is the line?
It's not terribly large, but there are civilians who have already noticed you and are
I feel
wide-eyed.
like we may want to stand to the side and send Cleo up to the front of the line.
Ooh, bold. I like it. Claire?
You're just gonna have me do all the dirty work, huh?
I mean, you're the one
You're the most
that
familiar.
knows the most about this culture.
Do you really trust this to any of us?
She
to
walks
be
away
honest?
immediately.
Right. My point exactly.
Uh,
Godspeed.
So she usually wears like plate armor with a cloak over it that kind of like covers most of it, and she throws that aside and it shows the sigil of the Imperium, which is a hawk crafted out of quills, essentially. And she marches up towards one of the guards who are kind of overseeing the checking process and begins to talk with them. From this distance, you have no idea what they're saying or like what their expressions on their faces are betraying.
She's selling us out.
Everybody
Everything's
said
fine.
good
Everything's fine.
vibes.
But essentially, she ends up like pointing over directly at where all of you are standing. And the guy like looks over.
Look important, look important. Stand up straighter.
I mean, you guys are still
Pose.
kind of off the path, I would think, so people don't really like start panicking. She like points directly at you and seems to like be getting in a heated debate with him. And they both start walking over towards you, and she looks angry with her arms crossed.
I think it's going well, guys.
Just act
Great-
like you're supposed
Great
to be
perception of
here.
character.
And as he's walking over, he pulls out a whistle from his like
God damn.
clothing and
God damn.
blows
Big
that.
whistle.
A whistle, yes. And blows that, and you hear even from this distance the sort of like mobilization of people. And joining behind him as like, you know, a ways back, are about 10 magistrates who are running up to catch up with him and Cleo. And they approach, and she's not saying anything, she's just kind of like crossing her arms looking at you and the newcomer person of authority. Dressed in the same armor as she is, but it looks much newer, more polished, better kept, that kind of stuff. He looks and says, "So you want to go to the seminary?"
Yes, we have been requested by a researcher who is currently performing experiments at the seminary.
Right, and we have a Furbolg and a Devil Blood in this party.
What kind of experiments do you think would be being performed at the seminary? We're a very specific research party.
No, I understand that. It is just odd to me that you would all voluntarily arrive for such experiments.
I mean, if anything, that should tell you that we have a reason to be here, right? We wouldn't just... You think that a group of us would just march up here and demand to go to the seminary if we didn't have a reason? I mean, I'm sure you can check. The paperwork is all there. We were just told to stay off the roads to avoid inciting panic.
Right. He looks entirely skeptical. So he turns, and the 10 magistrates have marched up, all heavily armored, all heavily armed. And he says, "We have a delivery to make." And some of them nod and run off. Everyone stands in a very uncomfortable silence. The remaining magistrates sort of surround you and keep a very close eye on you, but mostly keep you out of sight of the civilians. And all of their like hands are on their swords at all times. They are looking for any reason to...
I'm totally calm. I'm looking at my nails, just standing there like I have a reason to be here and I'm important.
So we say, look, we can tell you want us kind of out of sight, out of your hair, and as do we. We're happy to, however you tell us to be or get there, we're willing and able.
It's always nice when they cooperate. And a few moments later, a cart is pulled up, being driven by some horses with those magistrates that ran off. And it's like one of those prison carts from like old-timey times, the other ones. And they throw the cage door open and say, "Right, let's get going then."
I look at the group and just start walking towards the cage.
As we walk in, I go to the lead guard and say, "I'm sorry, and your name is?" I look for a name tag.
There's no name tag on his armor.
Is there an identification number?
Do you have
TK421.
Not an identification. They're not that advanced, no.
Oh, I just want to keep track of, who's putting us in this cage so that when we do get to the seminary, I can, give a feedback on our experience here.
He just kind of stares at you. Can you roll an insight for me?
I want to give you a 5 out of 5 on your guardsmanship survey.
Who upkeeps these?
Oh, it's not great. That was a 9.
Not great.
You're not really sure, but he doesn't seem to want to acknowledge you.
It's alright. I walk into the cage.
Yeah.
I did just say we're willing to do whatever they need us to do. You gotta go with
do
it.
I fit in said cage?
Not comfortably, no. You have to put
I'm
foot your
punched
neck
in.
down. Yeah.
Alright.
And in we go.
I'm the last one to go in the cage.
All right. Cleo
Begrudgingly.
walks up,
No one puts Magnus in a corner.
Yeah.
locks it, and looks at Magnus with a smirk. And then
Oh, she's enjoying this.
I give her a wink.
she winks at you back, and she climbs onto the front of the carriage. Pulls up her hood, and there are 4 magistrates on this cart with you as you take off into the city.
She.
It's like-
Is the cage locked? Do they lock
Yeah.
the cage?
She did lock
Guys.
the cage.
Why is she not in here with us?
Because she's, you know, not magical. She actually, I think, has the. Well, we'll talk about this later.
I'm gonna
Put it back there.
and
Okay.
real quick, our warding comms are magic, right?
Was
They,
that
they
don't
are-
was that Cleo that just said that?
The warden comms work by resonance with your soul. I don't know if you remember, but way back when you joined the wardens, it actually changed your soul to be able to speak old speak, as well as, actually it gave you like stat boosts and everything. The joining
Can we-
modified your soul.
So
Can we
could we
speak
use them?
oldish right
Is
now?
what I'm saying.
You can't. You try. You cannot speak old speak right now.
We can't speak old speak, and we can't use the warding comms.
You cannot. They don't work.
Okay.
Yeah, since you took soul protect, that is when you lost those abilities.
Okay.
Troy,
Did
you
I-
would have
I
also
didn't-
taken it, just for reasons,
Okay.
just to make sure. At this point, because I don't want to go.
Just
fix
because,
stuff.
just because Troy ain't no loser. He's gonna roll with the cool crowd.
Yeah. You guys take off in this prison carriage drawn by horses through the gates and into the city. The city itself is, like I said, it's very utilitarian, but it's also very clean. Well kept. People know how to walk on the roads. They're respectful of each other. However, what they do as you're passing is every person that you see throws a terrible look at you. They hate you. You are being paraded through the city as some sort of like when a hunter brings their game and shows it off, except the game is something that everyone hates.
Hate is gonna
Most
hate.
dangerous game.
I
Hate is
think it's going-
Kazanis.
I think it's going well, guys.
It's a long ride through the city. It takes almost an hour to get through the city. People make way
Shame.
for the cart, but as again, the looks that you get are really hostile. Even when you've sort of disgraced yourself in other places, you never really got looks like you would get looks of hate, but these looks are like, I want you dead, from everyone. A few people go so far as to throw things at the cart. You get like some tomatoes thrown at you and stuff. I mean, nothing like really gets through the bars, but
Are people just carrying rotten tomatoes, or are these decently like?
no, they're
Normal
nice.
tomatoes.
They're nice.
Oh,
they
they're nice
actually
I
tomatoes?
eat
sell.
some of them.
Yeah.
They sell rotten tomatoes specifically for this purpose. Just no.
We are a little hungry.
Yeah.
Get like an egg thrown at you and stuff like that. Like people,
Ooh.
I have half an omelet now.
Yeah. Hot damn.
but
Make a little fire in the
it's like
cart.
trying to make this like dramatic and sinister, and you guys are like, I'm just gonna
Well,
eat the tomato.
Sorry, DM. We've just gone through some bad times. I mean, like when we were in the
This is how we
Underdark,
deal with
everyone
stress.
hated us. When
No,
you
it's
know
fine.
we're in
Seems to be a
areas
common
that we don't
theme.
belong, people are
It's
suspicious
great.
of us. This is kind of standard. This is run of the mill.
No, it's beautiful. It's great. Okay.
It's
So
better
again-
than being dead.
About an hour passes. Every time you try and talk or something, you get yelled at. A few times they like hit a whip against the bars. So it's a very quiet journey for you. As you approach the seminary, it is even more treacherous up close than it is afar. It's constructed of dark stone bricks that, even though you're not within them yet, sort of seem to like suffocate and entrap. They themselves look dense and strong and heavy. It's just sort of like you can already feel the atmosphere from within, even though you're not. The double doors into the seminary are massive and are made of solid steel, emblazoned with the eagle of quills that you've seen on the magistrate's armor throughout the city. And even outside, it is simply swarming with magistrates. You can't walk a few feet without seeing one. And one other thing that strikes you as really odd, the seminary is not within the city necessarily. It's within the walls, but it is kind of off in the corner. There's not a lot of busy roads for civilians around here or anything like that. There's no civilian structures around here. It is deathly quiet. Other than the marching of footsteps, there's no conversation. There's not even any screams or sounds of a prison within. It is just quiet. The carriage pulls up to not the front gate, but to sort of a side area. And it stops. The magistrates all get off. Cleo gets off. And she nods at them and waits by the cart as they approach some other officials that are, like, with a clipboard kind of waiting around. And this is your first chance to speak. If you've anything to say.
Well, not after that ride, we don't. Our souls are thoroughly crushed.
And Cleo says, welcome to the seminary.
Yeah, got the welcoming party. Had a nice little half omelet here going.
Okay, so the magistrates are discussing something, and they walk back up and unlock the cart that you're in. There is a hefty party of them keeping guard on you in case anything goes wrong, but not the one who had approached you outside the gate. A different guy comes up and says, all right, well, we've discussed with one of the administrators who keeps track of the incoming guests, and you are to be greeted by Lady Elia. She will decide your fate. And he kind of like looks angry, and he's like he's disgusted with the fact that you get to meet her. And he says, "It is a very high honor to meet with Chancellor Elia. She is a lady of utmost importance and power. Typically does not see scum such as yourselves."
Well, we appreciate your escort here. Thank you very much.
Cleo looks very impressed at Poofers. And this guard party leads you in through one of the side doors. And your intuition about just how sort of suffocating and dark and menacing this area was correct. It was absolutely correct. It is very frightening to be in here. All of the hallways are narrow and dark. The like dark stone bricks are lit only by periodic torches posted on the walls.
I feel like I'm not that nervous.
Okay, it's too bad.
The darkness.
Yeah. There are like 10 people around you though, so it's fine.
And I'm nervous there.
Okay. So this party leads you up what must be an essentially labyrinth of stairs and channels throughout the outskirts of the building. Eventually you arrive in a nicer hallway, which seems sort of like an administrative ward, and it's a wider hallway that is much more well lit, and there's like a nice red carpet along the bottom, which leads to a pair of large wooden doors emblazoned with steel decorations on the far side of the hallway. The party leads you up towards those doors and then stops, and the one who had spoken with you goes up to the door, knocks, is called in by a muffled voice. He enters, closes the door behind him, and then moments later opens the door again, wide enough for all of you to enter. And all 6 of you are ushered inside. The guard nods at the person within, who I'll describe in a moment, and closes the door behind him as he exits. So, the lady before you is not dressed in armor like all of her companions in this area. She is dressed in an official-looking suit with brown slacks and a white shirt and a golden tie underneath a vest, which is also shown to have the eagle on it. She is seated behind a large mahogany desk. This room is far nicer than anything else that you've seen so far. The floor is not brick. It is, laid wood. The walls are covered in tapestries and maps and documents and everything like that. But her desk itself is very neat and tidy. There's nothing on it except, like a pen laid out nicely in one piece of blank paper. And she has her fingers in front of her face as you approach. She's a black lady who's got dreadlocks pulled into a ponytail in a very neat, clean way. She's very prim and proper. And she kind of is entirely expressionless as you approach. And once the door is closed behind you, she simply says, "Welcome to the seminary."
Thank you. We had an interesting ride in.
Yes, many of our guests are greeted with such a welcoming celebration.
Yes, I'm sure you're aware that we have been requested by Callie for her research experiments.
She did mention a need for certain test subjects, but I thought I would just see you myself first.
And impressions?
Those are best left to oneself, wouldn't you agree? We don't see many tabaxi around here, especially not in the capital.
No, which would be why we were specifically requested and had such a hard time getting here.
Now, may I ask what your relationship with Callie is?
We've known Callie for some time. We have been business associates. We've been enlightened on some of her research, but most of it remains a mystery to us. I think the last thing she was working on was some kind of immortality research, which would make sense why she would request our group.
Yes, and why would she bring so-called friends for this research? Seems oddly insensitive.
Well, the nature of immortality might be something that your culture disagrees with, so she might just be trying to consider all opportunities. At this point, I point to Baron. When was the last time you saw a Firbolg that wasn't turned to glass?
Oh, just this morning, actually, one of our inmates. Unfortunately, he seemed to have starved to death. Anyways.
Wasted opportunity.
Yes, it's absolutely tragic. And I'd like to hear from each of you, actually. How are you faring in our wonderful city?
Who's that directed to?
She said she wants to hear from each of you. She's not really looking at anyone.
The complexity of the city is understated in the outside world, and while I don't belong here, it is impressive.
Quite a marvel, is it not? What we can accomplish when we are rid of the impurities of magic.
I kind of acknowledge what you said, but then I also kind of turn my gaze.
Who's next? Batter up.
Yes, I have not seen a city to rival it before.
I find that very odd for an elf to say. You are usually so proud of your beloved Amaranthine. It's really just a mess of... what's the best word here? Unnecessary extravagance, gluttony, greed, all of that, really.
Yes, I have seen much of that. That's why I can appreciate your order and your appreciation of things that are only needed.
She kind of gives a half smile of that and looks up and down at your outfit, which is kind of skippy. She's like, yes. Right. All the women you've seen here have been not over modest, but they've been not as free as other women throughout the continent. And yes, of course, we have the tainted blood one here. Why do I not find myself surprised?
Not find yourself surprised?
Yes, it's Well, your friend, as you put it, she's of dark blood herself. I suppose I'm not surprised that she would make an acquaintance with one akin to herself.
Yeah, I would say we're best friends. So
And have you seen the error of your ways after being exposed to the marvels and purity of our own establishment?
it is a very impressive area.
Right. And a half-elf, one I can finally appreciate as moderately standard. We
It's muted.
speak, but there's no sound. What sort of sorcery?
I am the most moderate and the most standard you shall ever meet. Not a magic bone in my body, and can very much appreciate the absolute utilitarianness of everything I've seen thus far, in that I am extremely utilitarian myself, and hence my accompanying this group.
She actually seems kind of impressed with this. Like, Troy is the only one that she like fully approves of, or at least partially approves of.
I
And
give
finally,
a little head nod in respect.
she finally looks over at Cleo and she says, "And a magistrate caught with such an exotic party. How interesting. Might I ask your name, soldier?" And she sighs and she says, "Claire," with all the other names that you guys listed. That Anastasia
I
doesn't
think
remember.
the Esquire means that she's a lawyer.
Okay, she excludes the Esquire. Chancellor Elia, thank you, Claire Harriet Lynn Ossel. Ossel?
So,
Ossel, okay. Chancellor Elia kind of takes a note as she's speaking. And, how did you find yourself with this group? I would assume that you were, helping our own goals. And Claire replies, well, I was the one who found them in the first place. They were far off on the border and gave me their information. I figured, considering the audacity of their encroachment upon our territory, walking into the Imperium as if our defenses and our principles are nothing, perhaps their story had some merit after all, and I would rather it be brought before your grace and left to your judgment rather than make them on my own. And Elia looks at her and says, "Very well. So, welcome to the seminary. As I said, each of you could potentially have a home here under other circumstances, but we'll not jump to any conclusions just yet. Callie, as she insists on naming herself, despite it being so improper, has a laboratory on one of the upper floors of our East Tower. You'll be allowed to rendezvous with her there, though, let's just say the seminary is very strict in its observations of its inmates and its guests as well. Should there be any cause for suspicion, well, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again."
We are more than happy to follow any rules set upon us. We know that we are visitors here.
Right. And she snaps her fingers and the door opens and she says, "Martin, take them to see the scientist." And this guard nods and waits for all of you to exit the room.
Does Martin seem like a number 2 kind of guy? Like a close guard kind of thing?
Yeah, he seems like he would be her primary guard or something like that.
Gotcha.
Okay. The other magistrates that had led you up here have since dispersed. He looks himself pretty heavily armed, but he says nothing to you and simply begins walking away, so you follow him. He casts a glance back after a few steps to make sure that you guys are in line, but doesn't seem interested in, physically corralling you or anything like that.
I'm gonna follow right behind in as mirroring of a path and movement, just kind of emanating the total utilitarian of the area, basically.
Okay. Is everyone else following?
Yeah, we all follow.
Right. Cleo brings up the tail. So he leads you again through another just sort of labyrinth of hallways and flights of winding circular stairs. One odd thing about your walk through this area, though, is that you never see any inmates. It is always just closed off hallways. Once in a while there's a door or branches of paths. But you gather that you're kind of keeping to the outskirts of the building. So, like, if it's a tower, you'd be kind of going around the edges of it. And it is still just very deathly quiet in here. Along the way through these narrow corridors, you pass a number of magistrates who kind of give dark, unapproving glares at all of you, throw their hands to their weapons in sort of preparation of just being near you. And after a while, you arrive at a room with a closed, dark wooden door. It looks very plain, exactly like any other that you've seen. And Martin, without saying anything, just pushes it open. Behind the door is a fairly plain room of the same dark brick, a little bit better lit in here, but not super well lit, filled with scientific equipment, alchemical vials, sort of other equipment like that, tables full of papers and other tools, bookshelves full of books. But your friend in here is nowhere to be seen. Martin gives a very annoyed sigh and leaves you 5-6 in there, closing the door behind him. And let's take a quick break here.
Cool. All right.
We're in. We made it.
We made it without dying. Now we can just die a little bit later. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome back. Okay, let's do this. So you guys have just been brought to a laboratory, which seems old, dank, moderately lit, and empty.
So we're in the lab.
Yes,
No sign of Callie. We don't have anybody around us, right?
just the six of you.
Um,
Just the six of you. The door is closed behind you.
Can I start looking around the room? I feel like they probably
Yeah,
don't trust
same.
Callie, so more than likely there's probably some kind of monitoring of some kind or what have you.
I stop him real quick, and I'm like, yes, let's go check out some of the supplies. And we're
Make a
looking at all
dexterity
the.
saving throw.
Say that again.
Make a dexterity saving throw. Wow, nat 20. Okay. Your ears twitch and you turn to see a bottle flying through the air at you, and you duck as the bottle crashes into the wall behind you and starts oozing some suspicious liquid down the wall. And there's a noise from the other side of the laboratory. And you see someone approaching, and she looks incredibly angry, stomping over, like, furious. And it is in fact Callie. She's not chained up or anything, but she, like, appears from behind some bookshelves, stomping over at you. To note real quick, Callie's a very flamboyant person. She's usually got, like, red hair and, like, a, fun outfit and stuff like that. Not only is she not hovering around, she's walking on her feet. But she's dressed in darker clothes, and her hair is in a more, it's like kind of like my hair, actually. Shorter, but now dyed silver. She doesn't have that fun haircut where it's like shaved on one side or anything. It's just a more normal haircut. She's dressed in kind of like business casual clothes with a long lab coat on. And she is stomping over towards you guys and screaming, "What the hell? Why are you here? This ruins everything!"
I give Poofers the dirtiest look.
Right?
I
all
was
stare.
told-
Instantly, we all
I
turn and
was
stare at
told
Poofers.
that if my sword started blinking, you needed some help.
No, I was told. And Cleo comes up and says, "I hate to be that person, but please keep your voices down. Don't want to draw attention." And Callie gets up close.
I was told that if my thing started blinking, then you needed help.
Callie gets up close and she says, "I was told that if I sent out a call, someone else would answer."
Who else would it be?
Can you roll history if you genuinely don't know?
Just the first one.
Let me give you the letter again. I don't have the letter, but I do remember what it said. I don't remember what chat it's in.
Funny, we don't have the letter either.
It
Apparently.
was a long time ago. It was like 3 months ago, so it's somewhere in chat history. But I will text you what that letter said.
The suspense.
Did it say never under any circumstances come to the seminary?
Says no matter what, never listen to Pooper's idea.
Who was like, I just glossed over that part.
You sending this or what?
Yeah,
Where?
it's in the Discord.
So
Our private
nervous.
chat.
Oh god.
Where
Oh,
do
she
I am
laughs.
Oh
this club
Jesus.
for murder?
Oh my god.
Oh no.
What?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not gonna trust anybody else to rescue you. It was clearly gonna be us.
Oh my god.
That wasn't the agreement. That was not the arrangement.
Yeah, he's a sneaky guy. He's
Oh my
sneaky.
god. This ruins everything. Oh god. god. And she starts pacing back and forth.
How does this ruin things,
Hey,
Callie?
Can you fill
Also,
us
by the way,
in the rest of
happy
us?
to see that you're alive.
Also, nice hair.
Yeah, happy you're alive and whatever too, but oh my god, I'm so angry at you guys. You just walked into the Imperium, into the
Mhm.
seminary,
Mhm.
and
We were carted into the
Yes.
through the Imperium.
We were very
As we wipe,
friendishly escorted
wipe
to the
tomatoes off
seminary.
us.
this wasn't the plan. This is the opposite of the plan, kind of. You weren't supposed to know about this.
Well, joke's on you. There is no plan.
Inspiration.
Yes, definitely.
Oh
that is
god, I
something Troy
almost
would
spit out my
say.
drink. I can't breathe.
Got some good lines tonight.
I'm gonna take my inspiration.
So we're here to save you. You're welcome.
I don't need to be saved. That wasn't the thing.
What do you need?
Yeah, can
What
you
is
can
the
you fill in the rest of us?
Oh
Of,
my god. She's like trying to find words and is like pacing back and forth trying to process like
I can't breathe.
what's going on. And she's like, got your letter. I thought I would be better prepared for this, but I'm still just as angry as when I read the letter. And Cleo's like, I'm just gonna step outside and keep watch while you guys sort this out, because you're being kind of loud. She kind of slinks out of the door. And, Callie is like, throws a few more glasses at walls and stuff. And she's like, alright. We're gonna have to figure this out. There's some
We
bad
just
things.
look at her.
There's some bad stuff going on, and I and she looks over at Poofers, a friend, were supposed to sort it out, and now that friend is not here, and instead, you are here.
He's busy.
Yes, the
It's-
stupid 6.
Okay.
We're talking about Cross, right?
Right.
And I throw a bottle at Baron.
Oh, we all know who Cross is, Poofers.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert. We're all aware.
It's not you guys I'm worried about.
Yeah. That, you know what? It totally checks out, because all he ever cares about is what he's doing. So that's fine. Of course he would send some lackeys in his place. You know what? We'll
Callie,
figure it out.
Please.
Stop. What the hell is going on?
Okay, well, I guess it's time for the full story. Everyone gather round. We'll just figure it out together, won't we?
We sit
Okay.
down in a circle on the floor.
She
Cross-legged
sighs
for sure.
and says, alright, I have to be quiet because I know that they listen most of the time, and it's gonna be complicated. Alright, so, she kind of gets in close to you guys, still just like fuming angry, but gets through what she's to say.
She gets a boot.
She resists punching Magnus in the face. Okay, so, alright. As you guys know, I hope, because Baron wanted to live through whatever he was doing in Tartarus,
Damn it, Baron.
I ended up getting conscripted into doing research for the Thanks, Baron.
Selfish.
However,
Sorry.
not gonna lie, Barry,
Selfish.
might have been the
Might
best
be.
decision you ever made. Okay, so they wanted me to do research on immortality, and as you know, she pulls at her choker. I myself am kind of familiar with that business. So
For chat, she's a homunculus, right?
yes, she is.
Yep.
She her choker is her phylactery. She always keeps it on her. So if that dies, she dies. Whoever gets destroyed, she dies. Alright. So as I was doing research back home in Elm Coast, I was trying to make like slow, but like not suspiciously slow progress on stuff. You know, I still had to give them deliverables, but I was trying to impede it as much as I could. I slipped in some bad information here and there. But things kind of progressed. So anyways, one of the main problems that I had communicated to the Imperium, mainly to Chancellor Elia, who's been sort of in charge of this whole project, is that immortality is kind of like hard to achieve, right? Like, there's no just spell where you can be like, I want to be immortal. That's not how it works. right? So you can't just become a god or devil or a homunculus or whatever else. There's always a cost to modifying the soul and the body to being endless. And that cost is never cheap. It's why, you have liches who kill tens of thousands of people. So they take those lives in order to extend their own. It's not exactly a good thing to be doing, right? So immortality is expensive. And I was confident that even the Imperium wouldn't be willing to just kill tens of thousands of people to make one immortal person or something like that. Especially because liches are evil, right? Stuff like that would be bad. So, I was like, sorry, can't make progress because we don't have an energy source to fuel that. And I was instantly assured that the Imperium does have ample energy to supply such an expensive process, which was immediately terrifying and suspicious. And all they needed me to do was find the mechanisms to make that transfer of energy and basically mutation of that energy into an immortal essence possible. Right. So I was immediately like, that's not good. They got something going on, right? And over time, as I continued to refine this machinery, I got tidbits of details from them about the nature of that energy. I couldn't just say like, oh, any energy will work. I would get like little bits and pieces of information. And through those bits and pieces, I kind of figured out what I thought was going on, and I'm like, that's not good. I have to go double check that that's the case. And so I did. And they're not like torturing me or anything like that. Like, it's been as comfortable as it can be. This was willing. And I had, I know going into the Imperium is stupid, so that's why I had enlisted the help of Poofer's friend to... He was fail-safe, more or less, and he failed to keep me safe in this regard now, but that's okay. Not. Figure it out. Anyways, I came here to be sure, found out the situation was just what I thought it would be, and I was like, well, I'm gonna call my friend to come help me destroy everything and then escape. And then I got a letter from all of you that you were coming. Anyways. One of the benefits of being how I am is that I am, 1, technically alive, 2, capable of thought and feeling, no undead, whatever, being not feeling. I got that, I have empathy, I have all of that. And the Imperium knows that, and they wanted to create more things like me. And as I came to discover, the purpose of that is, of course, creating undying soldiers that could serve as magistrates, missionaries, and soldiers. Yeah. But like I said, making someone like me is very expensive. And it turns out that this energy that the Imperium has been talking about having is worse than what a lich does. A lich just kills people outright. It doesn't go to the express effort of torturing anyone or hurting them more than they need to. They just care about the life force. They just want that as fast as possible. So sure, killing tens of thousands of people is terrible. But in most cases it happens quickly. Here, however, they are taking these magic users that they've been imprisoning and gathering for decades, whose souls are significantly more powerful than the average human. Magic connection that weave is gonna give you a load more power. Okay, how about this? Imagine a soul is like a blanket, and it is connected by threads to another weave, which is the weave of magic. The more powerful a magician you are, the more of those ties between the two blankets have. And the more closely knit they are. What the Imperium is doing here is, one by one, they are breaking those connecting threads and harnessing the energy that's released. It's not a fun process. It is a very painful, horrific process, and it is very slow. Because once that tie has been severed, you have to let the blanket basically heal itself and then do the next one until it's entirely severed, and then you consume the original ligand altogether. Essentially, they are slowly and painfully taking every last drop of power from the magic users stored here and draining it from them and turning that into a force by which they will make their own superhuman army.
Where are they getting all these magic users?
Well, way back when, the Imperium was actually a very magical place before Diane took over, and that's when all the magic hunting started, and I guess after seeing the loss of normal humans, they decided that it's time to take magic, something that they consider evil, and channel that into something pure and good and in the name of the author. They've been gathering magic users from every inch of the border, every inch of the country for years, and they have been taking people from other places as well. And they are very close to figuring out how to use the incomplete research that I've done to forge a superhuman army to not only spread the good word of the author, but to take over the continent again.
Noted. But if your research was destroyed, they'd be back to square one, right?
Fortunately, they are not so foolish as to only keep one copy of it laying around.
So my plan to set fire to your lab and escape into the sewers and get back to the sea within 2 days might need some adjusting.
Now you see, even if they did lose the research, there's still the matter of the people being held here.
How many people are being held?
Too many to count.
Of all races and backgrounds?
Anything magical, you can find it here.
Have you been in contact with any of them? Have you made any friends or acquaintances, allies, anything like that we can use?
Good question.
Unfortunately, I am only in contact with the byproduct of their dark arts here. I'm not allowed contact with anyone. They keep a very close tie on that. Now you see, when I had envisioned coming here and dismantling the entire operation and freeing all of the magic users, I had hoped for the assistance of someone with a lot more destructive power than what we might be able to muster here.
Yep.
And
Well, technically, we might be in magical contact, which is an issue with somebody of said destructive powers who may or may not demand something significant from us in exchange.
Also,
Wait, can
Just
I
hypothetically
just
speaking.
sorry? Can I just bring up the obvious real quick? That it just seems like a really inconvenient time to take over a continent that's about to be swept into a ruin.
or the
that is a
perfect
really
time.
good point. Have they talked about that, their sighting on this and what their plan is? Have you overheard any of that?
My best guess, and I don't have access to official statements or anything, is that they know the wardens are on the case and will do a better job than they could about preventing this. However, with the entire world thrown into chaos trying to fight the ruin, that's the perfect time to sweep in and pull the rug out from anyone.
So
Pull the
they
rug out
want
from everyone.
to be the leaders of nothing, because that's what
It
would
seems like their plan is, while the wardens are busy saving the world, they're betting that we'll save the world, and then they will take over said world. And so they're starting up. Is
That
that
is-
the gist?
Yes.
And with kind of further on that point of especially what's going on is obviously you're making potions and progressing, your research, so you're able to perform magic.
I can do magic, but I can't do enough magic to bring down this tower
But-
or free everyone in it.
Just making sure though, as you perform magic because you have to for your research, no alarms are going off or problems or anything like that. It's expected of where that you can do magic here in this area and there's not a problem.
to a degree. You know, any sort of evocation magic will be instantly detected. They expect that there will be magical goings on, but not necessarily complicated spells or anything like that. That wouldn't be reminiscent of research. So anyways, I am not leaving until I find a way, not just to destroy this, but to free the people in here.
That is very
This
heroic of you.
That got a lot more complicated. If we leave with you, Callie, will they be able to continue the research with the people that are trapped here?
Undoubtedly, yes. Now,
Damn.
after I had received your letter, one thing I considered is getting you out to hopefully form a more solid force to take this down. You don't have to stay and see this out, is what I'm saying. If you have any ideas, I know a few more details about the tower that might be of interest to you first.
I mean, go for it.
Yes.
That's what you know, so we can start working.
Let me just get through all my bullet points here. With Poopers' friend, I would have had the destructive power and the escape means. But
here already. Don't worry about it.
right, with all of you, there's a lot of problems to resolve and not a lot of good ways to do everything at once. There are obviously a ton of guards here, and they're keeping a close eye on everyone. But there are a few things that can be taken advantage of. First, all the magistrates here rely on lyrium. I don't want to say that they'd be powerless without it, because it stays in their system for a day or so, but the
Is that
supply
true,
of it is vital. What'd you say?
Is that true, Barry?
What? Sorry. Oh, right. In my system? Well, after 24 hours, you definitely don't feel like you could really do anything. Other than scratch your arms and
Maybe
once more.
we could wait them out.
But as far as I know, the lyrium store is somewhere underground here, or near the ground, in the lower floors, and it would be extremely hard to access, especially for a bunch of strangers who do not have, free reign of the tower. One other interesting thing about lyrium, though, is that it's very volatile. I'm not sure whether it would be enough to bring down the tower if we were to introduce flame in there, but it would certainly do damage. That, of course, doesn't solve the inmate problem, and in fact might make that more difficult if it is poorly timed. There's the matter of the prisoners. I seriously doubt there's a release all switch, as one would expect with a magical-based prison, but there has to be a way to get everyone active at once. Now, I think something that you've probably been asking yourselves is, if this place is full of magic users, why don't they just fight back? Well, not only are the magistrates pretty powerful, but do you see that? And she points to a vent in the room. There's a pretty complex system of air ventilation here, and it doesn't affect this room, but most areas in the seminary are subject to a very special airflow, which contains a magical suppressant that makes the inmates essentially powerless. If there was a way to find where that is coming from and shut it off, that would be very ideal. Last but not least, I've on the side been working on a counteractive Telerium. It is not foolproof, it is not cure-all or fix-all or stop-all, but it is, and it has to be, consumed. It does dismantle the effective lyrium fairly effectively.
I'm sorry, what does?
It's counteractive that she's been working on.
Could we pipe that through the vents?
If you could find where the anti-magic is being essentially vaporized into the air and substitute it, then yes.
Do you have any idea where we're thinking it's coming from?
I have no idea.
How
friend might
big?
know.
How big is the vent?
It is
Yes.
Is it poofer size?
Is it cat size?
Yes, it's for sure purple size.
it would be a squeeze. It would be a real squeeze.
You've
Do
seen
you
Die
have
Hard.
any butter?
No, I
Gr-
don't.
Lantern
Oil,
Lantern?
grease.
Grease.
Anyways,
Grease in the poofers.
it's important to consider everything at stake here. One more thing, if we somehow manage to free all of the inmates here, and they escaped into the city, where do they go from there?
I have an idea for that. This city is the most organized city I have ever seen in my entire life, which means that their planning is probably perfect, which means that their sewer system is probably perfect. The perfect escape route.
So you want to send tens of thousands of people through a sewer. Okay, great, that might get them outside the city, but then what?
They
You
have magic.
run. You run real fast.
They have magic.
Yes, after they've been broken and tortured, sure.
I mean, we can't afford. I mean, how the city's huge, and if 1 in every 5 people here is a soldier, they outnumber us. We can do our best to get people out, but we can't teleport everybody out on our own. That's 10,000 people. We can only move 2 of us 500 feet.
And who's this friend that you've been talking about?
What friend?
our slippery friend?
No, the one that you brought up about doing something for a cost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you know most of our secrets anyway. So we may or may not. We definitely made friends with an archdemon. And see, the thing here's the thing. She
We really like to round out the group, you know?
I mean, you know about the artifacts. To try and
Captain Judgy, calm down.
try and repair the rip in the sky. Well, she doesn't agree with what the wardens are doing with the artifacts. She wants to use them in a different way that she thinks can shut off the ruin forever, but also might
Which
kill
also
everybody
has merit.
forever. Yes. So we told her, we'll think about it. So I think if we were to request her help on something like this, she might have a high price.
And just so we're clear, the we'll think about it was more, don't kill us. And that's why we're going to think about it.
She fought off worm gods.
A lot
She's
of
an
them.
archdemon?
I think so.
I mean, technically, but she doesn't
mean-
come off that way.
Yeah.
You know?
She's a very nice lady.
I'm way
Callie,
cool.
Wait,
was Callie
wasn't
with
Callie
us?
with us?
No,
With
didn't
Avi?
see
No.
you.
The lich in the prison?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Was she
was
on
with you
there?
He
then.
was.
Yeah,
with
Yeah, but she was.
You
well, okay.
remember Avi. She could talk now. But only about certain things. It's very complicated.
She got her stitches out.
She has
Like braces.
like really impressive destructive power.
She's all right.
Yeah, we blew
may
up a
have already
civilization.
been
She helped
involved in
us.
The destruction of a civilization, so I mean...
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Their own fault.
What have you guys done?
We did it. We did it unintentionally once. Maybe if we actually try this time.
I mean, let's just try to save the city, and then we're good.
Yeah. Let's try to not do any damage.
I don't think we want to go blowing up the city because, you know, a lot of those
Right.
people are civilians. Who probably were just raised in this environment, you know.
Then again, destroying the seminary would be a pretty big setback in a lot of their more questionable practices.
Well,
We would have to-
does the
I mean,
seminary have a
usually
bunch of
every-
civilians in it?
No,
Does
it's off. It's in the city. Like some people would probably be hurt, but
Gotcha.
it's not like the middle of the city.
Minimal casualties. So
Hmm.
for us, many casualties.
Yes.
I mean, usually
Chain
everything
reaction.
we're involved in turns into a flaming pile of shit. So
we have like a day and a half to do this.
2
yeah.
whole days. We just
on a
have
totally
to be
unrelated
somewhere.
note, we have to be 7 hours down the road in 48 hours. Otherwise, we're walking.
You guys just dropped a lot on me.
yeah, the feeling's mutual, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
thanks for that.
Speaking of that, poofers, don't think you're out of this.
I was following instructions.
Yeah, the instructions that we didn't have to freaking show up
Yeah,
and deal with this
guys.
crap.
No,
Guys,
no.
wait.
Let me correct you. The instructions were for me to not tell you guys about Callie being in trouble. And what kind of friend would I be if I didn't tell you guys that Callie was in trouble?
And that
Really?
one's actually on me. I told Cross to not tell you guys, and then he seems to have passed that on to her. So that was
Secrets
So,
don't make
uh,
friends.
I wanna like
none of the
more on the pile, but I may have given the eel a letter that said if I don't come out in 2 days, tell my brother where I am. So we really gotta get out of here in 2 days.
Hey, look at it this way. We're gonna have the elves that are gonna come and go smash the shit out of stuff.
like they did when Doppio was fighting us.
Right.
Perfect. Okay. Anyways, none of this matters. We're here. Hello. What are we gonna do now?
All right, I say we grease poofers up, put her in the vet.
You gotta
That's
have
the
something
least she
greasy
can
in
do.
here. I can
Okay,
at least go
just-
investigate this.
I know, but this is just really dangerous. If you're caught, you're just going to be killed instantly, and then all of us
Some
are
of
going to be
you
killed because we're in the.
May die, but that is a risk I am willing to take.
One more thing to consider. Now, I don't know the full details of your friend here, but she's an archdemon. She has access to the hells. And I'm not saying it would be nice to send tens of thousands of people to hell temporarily, but I'm saying that might also be an option.
Well, do you think that would be the icing on the cake for our friend? Is that something she may be interested?
I don't know if she
I
can.
don't.
Do you think
I
you
don't
could be
know.
best friends with her?
See,
She does. She
there's-
was kind of had my aesthetic. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? Looked really cool.
here's the problem: is she's not
Yeah,
gonna
go.
do this for free, and I don't think sending 10,000 people to hell permanently is something that she really cares about in the grand scheme of things.
Right, but
It's not
I
like
don't know. We can say
not like a
it is
goodie bag.
well, not necessarily that she needs the help a ton, but she needs the help a little bit to be able to find more artifacts. And either way, I mean, we want to find more.
I mean,
So
we know where
She's
the next
gonna-
one
and
is.
we have a good idea. So I think we could maybe use that as some leverage of, hey, help us real quick, and then we can start progressing to reclaiming these artifacts that you need anyway.
Help us
I
so
think
we
she
can
might
continue
ask
siding with
us
the
to
wardens.
promise a little more than that.
Or
She's gonna
could try.
ask us to promise
Our last
follow her
our
lead.
last encounter, we did basically side with the wardens instead of
Right.
her.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Just so we're clear, what's option B?
I squeak through the vent. We find the way to stop all the magic users from being suppressed. We blow this place to hell, escape through the sewers, and 10,000 people just run along the hillside to try and get out of the country.
Perfect. I mean,
They
Okay,
can't
that sounds
stop.
like a great idea. Let's
They
do
What?
that.
can't. They
do we
can't
need to
stop us
do?
all.
To contact
I'll say
Bobby.
this: it's progress. It's definitely progress. Sorry, you were saying something, Aravir, about Avi?
What do we need to do to contact her? I mean, we don't.
Yeah, we would have to drop our suppression to contact her. And also, didn't she say something about, like, she can't come back here until a certain amount of time has passed? We don't even know if she'll be able to help us.
So the vents it is.
DM, do we remember what the constraints were on communicating with Avi?
Yeah, she has a coin that will open a sort of window to where
Yep.
she is.
Yep.
Do we
As
even
a
have the
magic-
coin
you
with
don't
us?
have the coin with you, bullshit.
Well, that's
Well,
Wait, we
fine.
don't have the coin? All right. Well, probably been a good thing to say at the beginning.
cool.
Cool. So, Poopers is already like half greased up from some random viscous.
I feel like she just
so-and-so-
found a random potion and started
Yeah.
putting it on her.
Yeah.
I feel
This has
tingly.
no negative side effects on skin or fur, right?
this hasn't been tested on animals, right?
Like one of her eyeballs is bigger than the other already.
Before you go in the vents, so I mean, there's a lot to factor in here. Like
what? I'm jumping to try and reach the vent.
what are we gonna do after you find it and like handle everything that's going on? You suggested sewers, which I think is an interesting idea, but we don't even know if there's access to them from here or how to get there.
This is just a scouting mission. We'll tie a rope to me, and then when I yank it, you guys just pull me back through the vent system.
So
This is a terrible idea.
How is the lyrium? The lyrium's in where we are right now, right? Somewhere hidden.
She said she thinks it's in the basement.
How do you know how that is being brought in? I'm assuming because there's high volume, maybe it's being shipped in some way or a supply chain.
I would assume it's being shipped somehow. I don't know the details, unfortunately.
so where does your dookie go?
So the reason that we're all laughing is because in our player chat, everyone's posting cats trying to struggle through doggy doors.
Oh my
Sorry. It's pretty funny watching fat cats try and squeeze their way through small doggy doors. Sorry.
God. Sean is so red. Okay. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. It's pretty funny. I can't even look at it. Sorry, you were saying the supply chain once again? I can't look at it. I seriously can't look at it.
Yeah, there's probably deliveries. You don't know where it's from or anything like that.
So it seems like there's a couple things that we need to try and understand. We need to understand the magic suppressant with the ventilation system, which also probably goes to the prisoners. So if we can somehow map that out, that's pretty important. The lyrium, which could be a way for us to destroy the entire, seminary, and figuring out if there's a way to create an escape plan like the sewers. So
I was just thinking about that cat still.
yeah, I don't.
I'll send you the gifts. Hold on.
I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to move forward, but it's really hard.
Oh my god. But seriously, the sewers, like, you question the sewer system, but where does the dookie go? Like, it's gotta exist.
Also, blood.
It doesn't just magically disappear.
Clearly not. You don't magic your dookie out of here, so.
Speak
So
for yourself.
Poofers has a point.
I mean,
Stop posting them.
Someone needs the.
Okay.
In our memes channel in our Discord.
It's
Yeah,
very
I
hard to
mean-
focus.
There's no way that people don't have fluids coming out of them. Blood, poop, you name it. It's all gotta go somewhere, right? All of these rooms have to have some entrance to the sewer.
Yeah, but what if we don't know where that entrance would be? We don't know the pipe infrastructure or anything like that.
Very true. I could go. Yeah, have you ever seen
The Matrix where they go between the walls? That's gonna be me.
This is all such a bad idea, and I think the gifts of the cats in the background are not helping.
It's really hard right now. It's really difficult.
Every time I look at Sean too, he's laughing so hard it makes me laugh.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, we gotta try.
This
Okay,
is
guys,
not. This
wait,
is not
guys.
a turn I expected this to take.
Stick to the plan, please.
We're trying to make the
Movers.
plan.
Movers, grease up.
Never been a plan.
Let's do this.
Hold on. We do need somebody to investigate the system. We have somebody who has convinced them that she's on their side, which is good.
Who? The person
Oh,
you
yeah.
came in with?
You don't know about this lady yet.
That's true. I don't.
Her name's Chloe.
Her name isn't Chloe. Don't
Oh,
call
I'm
her
sorry.
that. She gets really mad.
You're right. It's Claire.
Close enough. Yeah, she kind of is exiled from this country, but has come back to help us rescue you. Used to be a bad guy. Still questionably a bad guy, but at least a bad guy to the bad guys, so.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I'm not gonna lie. It's really good that she's not in here, and hopefully doesn't have her ear to the door.
Here's some shuffling out there.
And you're sure she's convinced everyone that she's just okay to be here?
I mean, we didn't really have a choice because we didn't have a plan and we kind of needed somebody on the inside. Plus, she did help us squash some monsters.
We totally had a plan.
It's been a while since I've been with you guys, and I forget that you just rush it.
We're very
How
cross
dare
that
you.
bridge when we come to it kind of party.
Yeah. Literally
There's a bridge?
in the Lizard City. That
Mm.
bridge.
How do you know about that?
No, that
You
was,
watching us?
Yeah, always. Okay. All right. Well, how do you plan to investigate the sewers then?
It's a good question. We could ask Claire to. I don't know how good she is at espionage. She's also a very rushing kind of person. I assume that we won't have free reign of this place. We're probably constrained to your lab, right?
Ooh, there's definitely some, enzymes and or science that you need to get, possibly that thrives in the sewer, for this spell potion thing you're making.
I think that would be very difficult to convince them of.
I mean, with that attitude.
Could you, could you request that Claire go fetch a prisoner for you, and then she can look inside the rooms and kind of see the system while she's in there fetching the prisoner?
We could try.
I mean, it's an option. It's probably better than my Matrix inside the wall shuffling.
Yeah, probably.
You say that like it was a bad idea.
We're gonna need a race that I haven't dealt with yet, and I don't know who they have here, to be honest.
They gotta have some interesting people here. We were just told they had a Firbolg.
No, see, I'm just fearful of. I know how charismatic you guys tend to be. I don't want things going astray and people abandoning their livelihoods to join the party randomly.
But we also rolled really well when we asked.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I can try.
She's convinced.
Very nervous about that one. Not gonna lie. Okay. Do you want to ask your friend to come inside?
Sure. And I go knock on the door and I, push it
She
open and
knocks
say,
on the inside.
yeah. I push it open and say,
This is Claire Harriet Lynn O'Sell, Esquire.
your presence is requested in the laboratory.
She pushes the door open with annoyance.
Shoulders. Again. Bring him down.
Magnus, shut the hell up.
So, we have a few ideas. I'm just gonna say it. How would you feel about blowing this place up? Just this building, not the whole thing. Just this building.
Ellie looks at you like mouth agape. Like, did you just tell a possible magistrate that you want to blow up the seminary?
I trust her.
It was hypothetical.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was a hypothetical question.
What do you expect me to say in response to that?
Hopefully,
Yes, because that would be very helpful too.
Kaboom!
Should we blow this place
Do
up
like
we just
jazz
blew
hands
your
and the
mind?
explosion, like ah.
You're just it's hard because I was, like this is kind of my entire history and you're just like, let's blow it up. And
Just this building,
I
not the
love-
whole thing.
I love destruction as much as the next person, don't get me wrong. But that seems a little bit extreme.
Aren't you
On a,
angry for being exiled? And
right.
I mean, don't you want to get back at him just a little bit? Like,
And
I
and
know.
on a totally
I want to get away
unrelated
from them.
on a totally unrelated note, what are your feelings on sewers? Pro?
I'm horribly confused.
Okay, let me lay it out for you.
bear with us.
The magistrates exiled you because you didn't want to kill a bunch of people.
Howard?
Now, we also don't want to let a bunch
Correction.
of people be
I
killed.
didn't want to kill a bunch of innocent people.
Howard.
Do you? Question for you: were these innocent people magic users?
They weren't.
They weren't. That puts a dent in my argument.
It complicates things
let's
just
pretend
a
they
little
weren't.
bit.
Do you know what goes on in this building? Like, actually know what goes on in this building and why?
It's never part of my assignment, so I just delivered them.
If I told you they were painstakingly ripping people's souls apart so that they could reconquer the continent, how would you feel about that?
Honestly, he seems pretty in character.
But do you agree with it?
Yes, you seem not all that disturbed by that notion, which kind of scares me a
Notice
little
How
bit.
she didn't flinch.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who's not guilty of the accused crime should suffer for it.
Accused crime being...
Listen. You know how uncomfortable I am with all of you magic users and all of that. It's been quite a challenge to be around you without just being
Killing
totally
us.
disgusted. No, not killing, just horribly uncomfortable. However, I will say that in the time that we've spent together, I've seen how your magic has been useful to people. I am of the opinion that rampant use of magic in ways that are an affront to nature are still sinful but not worthy of death.
Great, because they are killing people here, and they basically want to let the ruin happen so that they can sweep in once everybody's dead and reconquer the continent. And that sounds like a bad thing to me, and we have a way to stop it. Probably if we're successful. Small chances of success, but it'll work out.
If it's not successful, it's not gonna be our
You know
problem.
what? Just
'cause we'll be
leave
dead.
me out of the details and tell me what you want me to do.
We
That's what
need
we
you.
like.
Perfect NPC.
Yes, love it. We need you to go fetch a prisoner that Callie will tell you. But you have to look at how sewage and plumbing looks in the room that they're being held in. Because
Not
we're
expected to just be like a hole in the ground or a toilet or something.
hoping it's a little bit more. But that's probably what it is. Still, it would be nice to know because we need a way for these people to get out of here.
Again, just leave me out of the details. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'll be outside until you need me to go.
Would it be more pertinent instead of having Claire look at all the toilets if we tried finding maybe more of like a supply chain?
What about a manhole cover or something?
Right?
Yeah,
Or
like
like,
a like a
down on
manhole
the
cover.
bottom floor. Yeah, is there like a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
something?
And on a
Escape
further
hatch.
note, we have this way out. How are we disseminating that information to everybody?
Well, I would assume that, if we end up shutting off the magic suppression, they're going to fight for their lives and bust out of the room, and hopefully we can just create enough of a clamor that they'll run to it.
We're not thinking that
I'm
they're
hoping.
oppressed and suppressed for so long that they're just gonna
I mean, we got to work with what we have, right? Like, we can hope that the people that are savable will be able to run themselves. There's thousands of people in here. We don't have time to go pick them all out.
If we can do magic, do you think we could make an announcement or something like that?
If we turn our magic on,
Right?
I think we
'Cause
have. I think that your. What's it called? Thing that lets you rumble stuff. I think you can amplify your voice.
Thaumaturgy.
Yeah, I definitely can with thaumaturgy.
But
That's what I have.
that will also be heard by everybody trying to stop us.
True. But, thousands of people in here.
I mean,
I
if
feel
you were
like
trying to
if-
get out of
if
a big
there's-
building, where would you
well,
run to?
If there's thousands of people who now all of a sudden have their magic back, that kind of turns the tides,
Right?
I'm guessing.
Just saying. Fireball.
And hopefully some of the ones that are a little more able might be able to help people that they find that aren't so able anymore.
We're also assuming that everybody's good and great and super friendly. And
I
my car's
think
not gonna be
that
broken into. I'll be right back.
I feel like we can probably assume that everybody here wants to get out.
Right, but that was his point, is do we necessarily think that everybody here should? Callie, are you vouching for everybody in here? Are they all good? Are they all here for the wrong
Do
reasons?
we have to just assume the greater good here?
Okay.
I'm more inclined towards the greater good at this point, and more than likely, they're probably not as bad as what would happen if we left them here.
That
Fair
is
enough.
true. We let a few
Fair.
murderers out. How many people can they possibly kill? We keep those murderers here and help the Imperium contribute to,
True.
conquering the continent. I don't know.
Well, the other alternative is we just don't stop the ruin, and then the joke's on them.
Idiots.
Nothing
Didn't
to
see that.
conquer, huh?
Didn't see that one coming, did ya?
Got him.
All right. Well, okay. I think we have the plan developed, right? Like, we're gonna.
We need to find a way into the sewers that can accommodate for a lot of different people. Maybe we just blow a giant hole into the sewer. And
If
then everybody
we-
streams in.
So, Callie, can you help us out? Do you know? I mean, you've been here more than any of us, obviously. Is there any way, shape, or form we may be able to get thousands of people into a sewer system?
Has
as an escape
anybody
route?
invented gunpowder yet, please?
Well, magic has the same effect as powder, I think.
But it's gunpowder.
Yeah.
It's like if a fireball was in powder form.
Boom!
Well, why don't we just, if we find the lyrium, because we plan on blowing up the tower, right? Why don't we grab some of that lyrium if we need to blast a hole to the sewers?
We just need to figure out where.
Yeah.
You can use lyrium. Yeah, that is a very viable option. If you can find it.
If you can find it. Well, Claire, I mean, you were here before. I mean, do you know where they keep their lyrium supply?
Oh, I was outside, sorry.
Mini Magnus is here.
Well,
Careful. He's good with daggers.
if I had to guess, it would probably be accurate that it's in the basement somewhere. That's a very well guarded area with few entrances other than those closely monitored.
And probably the best way into the sewers.
I do
Blow
have
up the
another
basement?
idea about
Who wants to
that.
blow up the basement?
Right. Is there a prisoner you wanted me to go put a request in for and fetch? And Callie says, "Oh, yeah. Are you guys sure you want to do this and bring someone else into this?"
I
Well, we
mean-
want to bring everybody else into this. That's kind of the idea, right?
Plus, we can give somebody a break for a little bit from, the horrifying soul-ripping torture.
Fair enough.
Right.
We
They
can get
might
information from them as well, like
We may
how
get
it
a
feels like to have
volunteer.
soul-ripping torture.
She
For
writes on a
posterity.
piece of paper and hands it to Chloe, who nods and goes away. She leaves. In the
Oh.
meantime, while she's gone, is Poofer going on a ventilation adventure?
I mean, I would think so. Probably tie a rope to me so that I can find my way back as best I can.
Well, maybe a marking device might
Are
be
you
more
saying
useful.
she's going on an adventure?
Yeah.
Removing your inspiration from
wah.
before. It's revoked.
Like, do we have like chalk or something so then you can just mark like arrows or something like that? Wouldn't that be more efficient than rope? Callie, do
I
we have like
mean-
chalk?
I have no
Or
sense
bread
of direction.
Or maybe something that would leave like a glow mark.
It is going to be a labyrinth in those vents.
But what happens if I have to double back and then I get confused by my markings? I think rope is a good way to go.
Just as long as it's not string.
It's behind me, not in front. It's fine.
Yeah, but if you're coming back, it will be in front of you the whole way.
Rope will make noise if it's being pulled along the vents, though.
True. Poop. Do you have floss? A lot of floss.
You're an artist. You should be able to decipher your own markings.
Fine, I'll try. If I get lost in the vents and I don't come back in a certain amount of hours, just leave without me.
She's
vents
lost in
have
the
her
vents now.
The vents have me now.
Okay, take a piece of chalk and you climb in. Can I get one, a stealth check with advantage? 'Cause you're in the vents. And
I'll do the
two,
stealth check.
what?
Just kidding. Never mind.
And a survival check also.
I'm gonna have to use an inspiration on my stealth.
We got 14. You're not
Oh,
happy
that's
with
right.
14.
I'm okay with 14. Anyway,
Okay.
what was the other thing?
A survival check for navigation. Alright, you don't get lost as it turns out. Your markings are fine.
Wow.
Okay. How long are you telling them before, like, to start worrying? How long are you allowed to be
How
going?
big does this is? This is a big ass building, isn't it?
This is a huge complex.
I'm gonna give myself like 3 hours.
Okay. Poofers climbs up and disappears. Are you guys just sitting around waiting for news to come back, or are you gonna do something?
I mean,
I feel like we should be doing something.
Well, so what do we have checked off on the list right now? We have Claire going to pick up a new prisoner. We have Poofers looking through the vents. The only other thing we really need is an escape route, as well as understanding where the lyrium is.
Do you think maybe we could, while we're here, get Callie as she's making potions and doing fun things to maybe make some distraction potions while we got a little time?
I just have to be careful with the sort of potions that I make. If there's anything too suspicious going on, it will. draw
Well,
attention.
I mean, any great ideas? I mean, something for distraction, flash, smoke, something that can help escape for all the innocent people.
I can probably throw together a few smoke grenades or something like that. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, might as well put your skills to use while we're waiting here.
Alright, so she gets started on that. Several hours pass. In fact, about 2.5 Poofers, you're gone before you finally return.
I'm dusty.
You are very dusty. In your journeys, it was a labyrinth of of vents, by the way. This area is huge and the halls are already confusing enough. However, you kind of started to get a feel for it along the way, and you passed over a lot of interesting rooms, a lot of cells, mostly, where you saw people being held. There was one very unsavory room that you passed through, which can be most succinctly summarized as a torture chamber, where there was some not good stuff going on. But you kind of like followed this increasing sort of feeling of intensity all the way to the other side of the tower, where there seemed to be a more guard like dense area, and in there were several magistrates who were focusing on a like pool, like a little pool of water that seemed to kind of glow a little bit with a bluish energy akin to the lyrium you've seen before.
Was the pool near the vent or like across the room from the vent?
So the vent was like on the wall, and then the pool was in the... Well, actually, there would be several vents from this room. This was like the hub.
Gotcha.
And the pool is like on a pedestal, a large pool of water in a bowl, like a big bowl. And they're focusing on that, and it's got like a bluish energy.
Okay. Okay.
And I assume I came back after that.
Yes.
So, found the source. Opposite side of the building, very well guarded, pool of glowing liquid, can only assume that's the stuff. So I know where it is. I don't have any ideas on how to get what we need to get into the pool, since I'm the only one in the vents, and there's no way in heck you guys can all get in there.
Same floor?
It was an upper floor, actually.
Upper floor.
So this is the magic suppressant, yeah?
Yes.
Could Callie cook something up that poopers could drop in to counteract it?
She, like, what she has is essentially also a liquid, but it's a problem of the vents were on the edge of the room and the pool was like in the middle, so there's not a vent over it.
What about something that... If you said the pool is on a pedestal, what about a small explosion that may possibly knock it off? Did it look like it was affixed, or it was sitting on top of it, or
Well,
would
the
it
problem...
break the bowl?
So one of the things to consider is even if you destroy the magic suppressant, that's not going to stop the magistrates.
We need to counteract it.
You need to like basically infect that with the lyrium counteractive.
How much of the counteractive do we have to put in there?
Just one vial of it.
Do anybody got a we could like blow it out of a pipe like a dart. I mean, it's an option, right?
Yeah,
Throw
doesn't
it, and
sound too
everyone's like,
crazy.
"What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
or splash.
I mean, at that point, I mean, stuff's gonna be going down anyways, right? I mean,
Maybe.
baby.
I mean, that might be step 0.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, sound an
There's
alarm?
now-
What are they gonna do?
There's now a step.
All right. That's something to consider, but you hear footsteps approaching, and slowly there's a knock at the door, and it is pushed open far more gently than Martin had thrown it open. And Cleo returns with a pretty sour look on her face, as she is kind of like half dragging in another individual. Who is a young-ish looking girl. She just looks like a human. And she is thrown to the floor and dressed in tatters, chained up by the wrists and ankles with manacles. And Cleo's like, "Well, I got what you wanted." And Callie says, "Are you sure? She just looks like a human." And Callie's like, "Well, what are they supposed to look like?" And Callie shrugs, like, "Good point." Yeah, I am fine calling it here if you guys want to have a little bit of suspense on who this person is, or yeah. We can keep going if you want.
Let's leave it.
Let's leave it.
suspenseful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good suspense. Now I'm
Yeah.
curious, and we have stuff to think about, and yeah, it
We have
was.
visitors in real life and in the game.
yeah, little dudes.
Hello, real life visitors.
Yeah, little hobbits.
Hobbitses.
It was good to see everybody. Some people that I haven't seen in a while in chat. Tickler, Jesus Fan, Coffee. It was good to see you all in chat. Jesus Fan, thanks for subscribing. Thanks to the people that followed. Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday.
Next
And,
weekend!
yeah,
Have a
Shout out
good
to Tickler.
we'll figure out some crazy stuff on the next episode of Mimics Gimmicks. See you then.